calls me from out of the pit.
Welcome to another episode of The Return of the Son of the Show. I'm Paul.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Mike.
And this week we're going to talk about The Pit and the Pendulum, the 1961 classic by Roger Corman. And we're also going to talk about the 45th anniversary episode of Svengoolie, which is what we watched it on. But before we get into that, if you guys like what we do here, let us know in the comments. Let us know by liking and hitting the little bell icon, and tell a friend, share it, whatever you got to do to get the word out there.
This was my father's world, Mr. Barnett. The shrieking of mutilated victims became the music of his life. The blood of 1,000 men and women was spilled within these walls. Limbs twisted and broken, flesh burned black.
Nicholas.
Elizabeth? Is that you? Elizabeth? You lie! I'm going to torture you, Isabella. I'm going to make you suffer for your faithlessness to me. You harlot!
So, guys, The Pit and the Pendulum.
I did not remember a lot of that movie. My childhood memory of that movie is the last 10 minutes of that movie.
Yeah.
So it must have been the only 10 minutes I paid attention to as a kid.
Right.
So it was, I think my favorite part of the movie is the set designs. I mean, the actual room with the pit and the pendulum is amazing looking.
And that big painting in the background is great.
Yeah. And the castle was just great.
Yeah.
And so the acting, Vincent Price did a fantastic job as a man slowly being driven insane.
Yeah.
But other than him, I mean, the doctor and the brother of his wife were indistinguishable to me.
Yeah,
I had trouble figuring out who was whom. So I don't know. It's probably not. I mean, it definitely pales in comparison to the other Corman movies as far as plot goes.
Well, this one was 61. It was like the first of the 11.
It was the second.
Second. The first being
Fall of the House of Usher.
Oh, okay. So they were still like figuring out their
shtick.
Their shtick.
I mean, the makeup on the dead wife was great. I mean, I bet that probably scared the crap out of me as a kid. And I was thinking while we were watching it, I'm sitting there thinking about the fact that there's got to be that scene coming up. So that's what sticks out to me as a kid is the reveal, and the end of the movie.
Mike.
Oh, you basically said everything. So.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Well, see you next time. See you next week. I'm Mark.
I don't know. I don't remember. I'm sure I've seen it a long time ago. I didn't remember really anything about this movie.
Yeah.
Vincent Price was great. I like Barbara Steele, but she didn't really have much to do.
No.
She's better in Italian movies, in German movies, where she's the main character,
right?
More than just window dressing.
I really like. What is the one Sven mentioned it? The Black Sunday. Yeah, the characters besides Vincent Price were a little.
Not Vincent Price.
Yeah, a little not Vincent Price, but. Yeah, it would have been cool if they got some other horror icon and Lawrence Karloff in there or something.
As the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or as, the sister.
Yeah. This could have been one of those situations where, they didn't have the budget, and as the movie progressed, they got the budget to be able to have more brand
and
name
I
people in
think
it.
it's more. I really do because I mean it is a Matheson script, so
Yeah.
I mean, so it's not. I'm not critiquing. I think it was really a psychological, slow burn movie, and when you get to the later, the other ones, it's a lot more action. And so this one feels slow paced
Yeah.
compared to the others, but it really, I think, is more of a psychological, portrait of, like I said, of Nicholas being slowly driven insane.
Yes.
And so, in that way, it's kind of, even though it's not close to the Pit of the Pendulum book, it's closer in spirit to Poe than the more action oriented The Raven, things like that.
But like 10-year-old us's back in the day would never have gotten it when he showed it on us. So we would have been just waiting for the Sven bits.
Yeah, I was wanting 2 hours of Pit and Pendulum.
Yeah, I just had that.
Just
just going on for 2 hours.
So I mean, I don't know, but I mean, like a lot of horror things, the castle itself is a character, and that kind of thing is cool. But yeah, I guess tonight my kid, you're right, my kid memory was interfering with me watching the movie.
Yeah,
because I'm sitting there going, where's the damn Pit and the Pendulum?
Yeah, they didn't really even show it.
No,
But yeah, I don't know. The music was good.
Yeah, the music was like a lot like the castle, and it was its own character.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I was actually going to look it up
and the art direction was great. I mean, the fact the paint splashing in the beginning, I think that bothered me a little bit because the characters were so drably dressed. There's the scene where it's Nicholas, the doctor, the brother, and the I don't even know who the girl was who was really a bad actress. They're all wearing basically black and brown I mean, you could barely see them on the stairwell. And so I would have thought that, I mean, I understand Nicholas being in black and mourning and things like that, but the other ones could have been more colorful. And so it was weird compared to the other Corman Poe movies, which have a lot of color in them.
Yeah, but the window dressing in most of the Corman Poe movies is really impressive.
Oh yeah, for whatever budget he had,
for whatever the budget was,
Now that I have an adult memory of it, go back and watch it again, and focus on the fact that it's a psychological thriller.
Yeah, because it really is. And after we found out it was a Matheson script, I immediately started thinking about it as such. I'm like, did he like? I don't know what I'm going to do with this low budget movie. I'm going to write a psychological thriller about a man slowly going insane.
Yeah.
But it's completely like, it's not completely, but it's almost lost because we're waiting for the pendulum.
Right.
We're waiting for that thing we were forced to read in school.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that at all.
Yeah. I think it would be like, my kid had a trailer in my head, and the trailer didn't live up to the movie.
No,
so
no,
that's kind of it. So I blame my 10-year-old self. But and like I said, I just watched. It was just on Pluto last week. I watched The Raven for the 500th time. And so that so that's also coloring my view because The Raven's just nonstop gaga.
You had said earlier when we were watching that your favorite was of the Corman Poes was the Fall of the House of Usher.
No, it was Mask of the Red Death.
Mask of the Red Death.
It's the last one.
Yeah. But I can't think of anything past the Raven. But they're two different. They're apples and oranges. One's more of a comedy. But yeah, I remember we watched the Mask of the Red Death in like high school when we read the story and tried to figure out the configuration of the rooms and stuff. So I guess that one's legit if school teachers are showing it.
Yeah, it's just and the production value. For what money he had, the colors and the art. Again, I could call it art direction. The art direction was great in that one too. And so same thing with The Raven. I mean, The Raven just pops. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I said, I just think they were getting their bearings. They were trying to figure out how to do this, and that's all it suffered from was.
well, and
just
my
getting
guess is it
caught
was
more.
rushed too, because I know they weren't expecting House of Usher to be a hit,
Mhm.
and they would do modestly well, and then it blew up.
Mhm.
And so I guess that's
Oh
why they
yeah,
pushed
sophomore
these.
jinx.
Yeah, they pushed
Yeah.
all these into production rather
Mm.
quickly. Yeah, it's sort of the younger brother of the movies.
Mhm.
It's the cousin
The
Oliver.
cousin, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that bad. Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
it doesn't reach cousin Oliver's
No,
level.
yeah. I love the Corman movies. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a big part of my childhood. I
Yeah.
mean, is those Corman movies.
Well, and that's the thing, because one of the things about this, not only was it Sven's 45th anniversary, but he did a big Corman tribute at the end. And when he starts talking about all the different movies that Corman had done, whether he was directing or producing and directing, there's so many of them that permeate our childhood
Yeah,
that, like, I can't imagine what that childhood would have been like
No.
without it.
yeah,
Like, imagine if you were just into sports
right.
when you were a kid. You never saw it conquered the world.
Right. Well, and for me, it always made like the '60s so interesting. Not the hippies, but dirty hippies, but just that style.
Yeah.
So the James Bond,
Yeah.
that, and this sort of has definitely a '60s vibe to it.
Well, it has a '60s vibe to it, and it has which is kind of like a watered down version of what the Italians
Correct.
and the Germans and the Spanish were doing
Yep.
in horror. This is like the cleaned up American version of all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, because the whole time we're watching this, I'm going especially with Barbara Steele in it, I'm like, this would be much better. If it would have been Italian.
It would have been the tit in the pen.
So you're not wrong.
Yeah. Definitely. I just want to know where they filmed what beach they filmed that external castle shot on with the waves. I could
Yeah.
watch that over and over again. I love.
Well, luckily for you, he uses it over.
Yes, he does. I know. He's
Yes.
Yes. I mean, overall, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it's a fun, like you said, it's a fun psychological thriller, given the limitations of budget. Artistic direction is great. Acting, is so.
I think like there's one scene where near the end where is it Elizabeth is her name, and the
Sure.
brother were talking, and I'm like, oh, without Price in the room, it's like the minute Price falls into the pit,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, the act. It's just those two couldn't carry a scene together.
The two most boring people in the movie
Yeah.
give the big expository dump at the end.
Correct.
And it's
that
too
was
much.
painful to watch. Yeah. So it's too bad Barbara Steele wasn't that character, and then have the one who couldn't act be the dead wife. That might have made it better.
Well, the only problem with Barbara Steele having been that character is you wouldn't have gotten that great Barbara Steele painting.
Oh no, yeah, correct.
Because she was born to be painted gothically.
Yeah.
Also, her little speech at the end, where she thinks Vince Price is dead.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a great scene. Yeah.
Well, you had pointed out too that how much Barbara Steele reminded you of Rose McGowan?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never thought about it like that, but it's true.
Yeah, she's very much. If they ever do a Barbara Steele biopic, or she could be her.
And number one, I'd watch it.
Yeah. Only dubbed in Italian.
Yeah, it'd have to be.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about the 45th anniversary of Svengoolie. But what I want to talk about first is your experience with Svengoolie. What was do you guys remember your first time like watching Sven?
It was early in the Son of Svengoolie days.
Mhm.
I mean, I can't remember if he started on nights. Did he start at night? I think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was at night. So
Yeah.
it would have been at night. And it would have been, I want to say either The Mummy was the first one I saw on Son of Svengoolie. Um, or it might have been Dracula. It was one of the Universal. It was one of those two. Universal was my first Son of Svengoolie that I remember. Although, as always, the Mole People is the one that sticks out in my memory because that's the one I was just fascinated by that movie as a kid.
Well, I think that effect where they came up out of the ground was pretty terrifying to a toddler.
Yeah, and the fact that the sun was burning them all up and stuff like that. So in that one scene, and but yeah, no, I think it was definitely it had to be The Mummy. I'm pretty sure it was my first, and so that I was hooked. I was hooked on because it was sort of my first exposure to Universal monster movies.
Yeah, same.
And so was and loved it from the first. And so I because I think I said this on our show before, but I definitely know as a kid getting my big personal tape recorder and taping all Sven bits every week. Week in, week out, I did that on Saturday nights.
It's like as soon as you discover that show, you find yourself doing that.
Yeah. So I had all of the songs. I taped the song every week. I taped the bits. And so I remember doing that religiously on that show, and then struggled when it moved to afternoons. Then it was harder to watch it all the time. But
I remember seeing it in the afternoon. I don't remember it. I mean, I might have watched it at night, but I don't recall that. I remember being on in the afternoon, and then there was like also some other show that had that showed those types of movies. And they had 8 weeks, once in a while, and they would show like King Kong and Planet of the Apes. But I loved Sven. I was into like the Universal monsters as a kid. I remember, in I don't know, 4th grade or whatever, having those books. It would be like movie monsters. Which, page would be Dracula and the Wolfman and all that. And I think I remember staying up late once because Dracula was going to be on, and I was young. I fell asleep during it. I don't know when I actually saw the actual movies. I remember really being into those monsters, but I'm not sure when I actually saw the movies. Yeah, I mean, there were things like the Monster Squad TV show, Saturday morning, and things like that I liked because it had those monsters.
Yeah,
Groovy Ghoulies.
Yeah, Groovy Ghoulies.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember I really liked the Phantom of the Opera. And the first time I actually saw the Phantom of the Opera wasn't the original one. It was the one with who's in that? It was in color. I can't remember who plays.
I can't remember.
Was it Jack Palance?
No. Anyway, I was glad that Sven was there because I loved those movies. Silly sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
Silly monster movies.
Yeah, I think we all grew up sort of on the Channel 44 out of Chicago.
Yeah. Was it WFLD?
That was 32.
32.
So 44 had, because I remember both.
Oh, yeah, 44 had all the
kaiju stuff.
But WFLD is where Sven pops up on.
So on 32.
And then later, 44 was the channel that the adult movies were on, and like they were scrambled.
Correct.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
None of us did that.
Yeah. But those were great times. I mean, you figure you could watch. For me, it was always like when he switched to afternoons, it was kung fu movies first, then Sven, and then then during the week you could catch your kaiju, watch your Spectre Man, your Ultraman, things like that.
Yeah, I remember those. I loved Space Giants.
Yeah, me too.
When I get home from school,
especially the first.
The first
Gam.
Yes, the superior Gam. Well, I just remember about 1980. A buddy of mine, the same guy that introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons, him and another friend of mine, they were just laughing and carrying on about Mr. Roberts' Neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? And they explained it to me. And then I remember there was a couple Saturday nights I was begging my mom to like, because Friday nights, because Dallas came on Fridays.
Yeah.
So Friday nights, my dad controlled the TV. But Saturday nights were kind of a free for all because, relatives were over or my parents would go to people's houses. So I managed to, finally talk her into watching, you know, Son of Svengoolie, and I think it may have been a Mummy episode.
Yeah.
So most of my Universal monster movie experience, as well as the Godzilla stuff, was from the early Son of Svengoolie stuff, and so yeah, and I've been a fan ever since, obviously.
Yeah, and I think I remember. I don't think I ever watched Son of Svengoolie in color because my parents had the color TV. My mom had a little black and white TV, and that's where I went, and it was in the kitchen of the dining room. And so I would be in the dining room by myself with the tape recorder watching it on black and white.
Yeah.
So to me, all the Sven movies were black and white as a kid. Because that's how old we are. We color TV was ooh. And so we still had that old black and white one. That's what I watched Sven on. And so even I know they let me have the color TV when they did the 3D because we got the 3D glasses for Revenge of the Creature. And so that one I got to watch on the color TV. But
I had seen I had watched Gargoyles in black and white because we didn't have a color television until I was probably in maybe third or fourth grade.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you what, in Gargoyles in black and white is so much better than Gargoyles in color because it gets really creepy and weird.
Yeah. I think a lot of movies are better in black and white.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we've all been talking, or some of us have been talking this week about the Godzilla -1, which I'm looking forward to watching in black and white.
Yeah, I think that comes out like next month.
Yeah.
Time of recording, July. And I'm on board. I want to see it in black and white so bad. I was just happy that other people were like, you don't make this movie better if it was in black and white. And I'm sitting going, yes, yes, I want to see it in black and white.
Be even better if edited in scenes of Raymond Burr.
Well, interestingly, this was it predates Raymond Burr. This
it would
47.
Yeah.
54, I think, is Godzilla.
Yeah.
So he was busy, I don't know, chain smoking and reporting somewhere else.
Perry Mason.
Yeah.
I don't know when he was Perry Mason versus Godzilla.
But I think I remember, Saturday Night Live was such a big thing when we were kids, although I don't think I made it. I would make it like the first half hour. Sleep at night. And so I think Sven being funny and doing skits was that sold me on the show. So his skits and he did so many commercials back then.
Yeah, his Mr. Roberts' Neighborhood predates Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood by a lot.
Yep.
But so you've heard our stories. Let us know in the comments when did you first watch Svengoolie? Do you remember the first movie? Do you remember the bit that hooked you? Just let us know down below. Speaking of bits that hooked you, how about this episode?
Oh, the bits in this episode.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to talk about the one.
Oh no, I want to go over this because this was the 45th anniversary, and to my knowledge, it was all new.
Yeah, it was everything except for the Pit and the Pendulum commercial at the end from the vault.
Yeah, it's from the vault stuff.
Was new. Yeah. The song was great. I don't know. I thought everything was funny tonight. I liked the mail segment because they showed a lot of cool pictures and art that people sent in for the 45th birthday.
Yeah,
but I like the song.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect episode.
Yeah,
Svengoolie. Good.
Yeah.
Why was the Svengoolie bit so good?
Obviously because she's hot.
Right.
And we got to see Anita Exorcist too.
Yeah.
No, seriously though, I think I thought that was fun. The Brad Pitt.
The Brad Pitt and the Pendulum.
Right.
The vault one was, I mean, I was laughing out loud.
Oh, yeah.
The little pendulum
Yeah.
commercial was great. That's classic Son of Sven.
Well, they had the fit and the dependable or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's the one that made us laugh
Yes.
was the pit bull and
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yes.
pit bull and the alpha.
Yeah. And his lead-ins were painfully funny. I mean, his lead-ins were very
Yes.
complex. As you said, we took the long way around
Oh yeah.
on some of his lead-in jokes, and so, but that was good too.
Yeah, because he almost upset the Swifties.
Yes.
You got to be careful.
Oh, I know. The only disappointment one was we all thought his the drawing segment was really a stretch.
Oh, yeah,
The Rebus that he did was really a stretch.
It was pretty rough.
Yeah, I got it, but it didn't. Not because of what the drew or how he got it.
Yeah,
he got to it.
Yeah,
and he even struggled.
It was
just
forced.
Basically, what do you say? You have to like slur your words.
Yeah. He starts sounding like he's drunk towards the end of it to get it out. Speaking of segments, now comes Mike's favorite part of the show. Normally, I ask a question about what movie would you like to see on Sven, but tonight I thought, being as it's his 45th anniversary, I would ask the question: favorite Sven bit of all time.
Yeah, well, Paul already talked about this one actually, but the Mr. Roberts neighborhood far my favorite.
Yeah,
I mean that one was hilarious. I still know all the words to that song.
What are those words?
I'm not going to sing it.
Right.
Didn't see me.
Yeah. Mine will be a song though. So I will actually, what hooked me on, I remember as I was little, what hooked me on Sven was the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy.
Oh yeah, that's
It's got the three Svens.
Yeah.
That I'm pretty sure that may have been the bit that I first saw that I was hooked. Yeah, that's the one that got me. Even though I know there were other ones better that came later, that when I was little, I knew that song somehow, and I still love it. Still find it on YouTube and watch that. Laugh at it.
There's so many, but I'm gonna go with Vampire Carpets.
That was my second.
Growing up watching Empire Carpet commercials, and then having him do that commercial. Me and my little brother will still call it up every once in a while, and just like do the theme, or do the words to it. Vampire Carpets, man.
Just also a shout out to Rich Kaz doing his Columbo, his doing the Stooges, doing the Marx Brothers. I mean, there was introduced me to a lot of other things that I probably wouldn't have watched had I not watched Sven.
That's true. My love of corny humor is placed squarely on Svengoolie's shoulders.
And puns.
Yes. All right, well, why don't you let us know what your favorite Sven bit is down below. And while you're down there, don't forget to do all the YouTube things. Hit the like button. You've already commented. Hit the little bell icon so you don't miss a single video. And just like every time we do this, I'm Paul.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Mike.
And this has been the return of the son of the show.
When there's nobody home in the neighborhood, we visit someone who's got stuff that's good and steal it. We can steal it. We'll break open the door, but we'll do no harm and hope they don't have a burglar alarm to nail us. Or they'll jail us. Hi there.
Excuse me, sir. Cut that out.
Sure, yeah, 100%.
I'm trying to think if I got any Poe books, but oh well.
Oh, yeah. Find us. Go get a Poe book. Tell me you ain't got one.
I'm sure it's probably buried. Damn, I should have got that.
You don't have any Poe on your shelf in there?
No, I don't think so.
Look at me a po' boy sandwich.